You're listening to How to 20-something, the best podcast that helps both men and women navigate their 20s and learn how to adult across all aspects of their lives. We're going to focus on career, relationships, finances, fitness, nutrition, and all of the common challenges and obstacles a typical 20-something will face in this post-college life. I'm your host, Jess Diamond, and I am the CEO and founder of Jess Diamond Coaching, where I help young professionals get their shit together, gain their confidence, and own their life. No one prepares you for this adulting world, so allow me to help you feel like you are no longer a chicken running around with its head cut off, and that you actually know what the hell is going on and what your next step to take is. Welcome to How to 20-something. Welcome back to another episode of How to 20-something, where today's topic is all about getting ahead of yourself. It's putting the cart before the horse or jumping the gun. Basically, when you are driving yourself mad, running through all of the possible outcomes and scenarios when step one hasn't even occurred yet. We all do it, and it only makes us more anxious about taking that initial first step. So instead, we freeze in our tracks and conjure up all of the what-ifs. I know I've done it when I was dating. Clients have done it with their career, their health. So I want to break down for you more specifics as to where this can occur in your life, why it's happening, and of course, what to do about it. Now, let's start with why this happens. Regardless of the category of your life, getting ahead of yourself boils down to two things: fear and impatience. Fear of the unknown, fear of how this one decision or path could lead to something else, something worse, and impatient in regards to the steps you must take to get from where you are right now to the outcomes you are wanting to achieve. Jumping the gun derives from wanting positive outcomes and fearing negative ones, or in general, trying to guess the outcomes from a more pessimistic point of view. For example, when it comes to your career, you could want a better position or make more money, land that first full-time job, but haven't even updated your resume or set up a LinkedIn account. Or on the opposite end is you could want this full-time job, but you're afraid of losing the freedom and flexibility of your schedule as it will get replaced with a more rigid 9 to 5. Or you could be happy with your job, but get an amazing verbal offer somewhere else. So you're freaking out about what the right or best decision is going to be for you when you haven't even gone on an interview yet. It plays into the what ifs. What if I hate my coworkers? What if I hate the work I'm doing? What if I lose the job I get? What if I end up in a worse position than before when where I was before wasn't even that bad? I usually have to bring my clients back down to reality and give them a checkpoint of, hey, how about we make the connection first, or develop the skill set, or go on the interview, and then we can cross all of those bridges when we get to them. Because what if the opposite is also true? What if you love your coworkers even more? What if you love the work you're doing? What if you get promoted? What if you end up in a better position than before? One of my clients was recently in this predicament, a high-class problem, as I told her, where she has a job. She loves the company. She feels loyal to them. She's making a decent living. But she's hearing rumors that the company is going down and that layoffs have begun. So she did what any logical person would do when you hear your company is in rough shape. You put your feelers out while you're still employed, just to see what the market is like and what your options are. And she was recruited to speak to someone from HR at a company that would give her this massive pay increase, multiple projects, a much closer commute, matched PTO at the minimum, and job security. And she was like, but what if I hate my coworkers? Mind you, she hasn't even gone on an official interview yet. There is no job offer on the table. And here she is freaking out about a job that isn't even in existence yet. So I brought her back down to earth and was like, hey, how about you go into the office and get a vibe check first? Then brush up on your interview skills. Go through the process. And once there is an offer on the table, we can discuss what decision it is that you're going to make. She wanted an answer from me directly, in that moment, as to what she should do, and that's not how coaching works. So instead, I asked her, what's the worst that could happen if you stayed at your current job? Then what's the best that could happen? And same thing with changing jobs. What's the worst that could happen and what's the best? So if you find yourself still spiraling as you wait for the steps to unfold, then ask yourself your scenarios. What is scary for you and what would you do if you found yourself in that pickle? And then also, what's exciting? And all I had to tell her after she answered my questions was that she has her answer. But also, she needs to wait out this process and take it step by step. I've had younger clients who have been fearful and excited about landing a full-time job. Again, without going on an interview, without a job offer present. They are working themselves up over what a full-time job means for their life. The pros and the cons. And cons way more than pros, so what they're subconsciously doing is talking themselves out of landing a job or making connections to get a job. We have to do a lot of mindset work around how they're getting in their own way, because I know they want the job. They want to enter into this next chapter of their 20s, but they are so afraid of getting the job and losing it, or not having enough money to support themselves, or hating the work they're doing, or not having enough time or energy to live their life, and essentially face the reality that a job does disrupt the lifestyle they've had the luxury of living since pretty much graduating high school. I come in and help them better understand what they can expect from both a schedule standpoint and from a paycheck standpoint, and cover any other fears that are standing in their way. And once we calm their mind gremlins down, we can focus on step one to getting that full-time job. Because you get ahead of yourself when you're really excited or really afraid of what's to come. Your brain literally jumps to all the possible outcomes as a way of protecting yourself. It's trying to predict these things so it knows what it's getting itself into. Since we all know how much the brain hates what it doesn't know. We want to be 10 steps ahead of where we're at right now because playing the waiting game sucks. Even being self-employed, I want to be making so much more money, signing more clients, speaking at more events when I'm only 4 years into this business, and it takes a lot longer to build things, to get to those bigger and better things. There's so much learning that comes with being an inexperienced entrepreneur. And even when I have some big realization and kick myself over not thinking of this idea years ago, I remind myself that it wouldn't have worked to my benefit like it does right now. For instance, speaking to parents of 20-somethings, as a 28-year-old is much easier than if I had tried to do so when I was 25 or 26. They trust an older 20-something more. I also have a lot more credibility, like awards, 127 episodes of this podcast, and years of coaching under my belt. So while yes, I wish I had thought of this years ago, so I could be further ahead than where I am right now, I can also recognize that this all happened when it was supposed to, which is a big part of not getting ahead of yourself. It's trusting that everything happens when and exactly how it's supposed to, even if it's to your dismay and not your benefit. When it comes to relationships and datings, if you're anything like how I was last year, then you're terrified of getting your heart broken or how you're going to fit someone into your current life and schedule. Or even the thought of cuddling with someone on your couch in your personal space can be freaky. So your brain starts to talk yourself out of going on a first date because of all of the potential negative outcomes that could follow, or of deciding whether to marry this person or not when it's a first date. And first dates are to see whether you like this person enough for a second date. And that's all. Yet here you are, building a future in your head before you've built any part of a potential relationship in real time. I know for me, I was so afraid of having someone get close to me and not like what they see in me and leave. I was afraid of the financial and time and energy commitments that comes with getting into a relationship. I was, and honestly still am, afraid of going through a breakup. When Ryan and I first started dating, anytime something went quote unquote wrong in my brain, it would spiral into, well, this is it. It was nice while it lasted. He's gone now. Or if we spent an entire weekend together, I would be so anxious come Monday morning and think he's annoyed of me and he doesn't want to see me again or he needs a break from me. Mind you, he never said any of this. My brain was just not my friend in all of these instances. I would jump so far ahead of myself in the most negative direction. Luckily, what I can tell you, if you are someone who is jumping ahead on the relationship train, is that you know you've found the right person when it doesn't feel scary to spend money on them, when you don't feel drained after hanging with them, when you want to make room in your schedule for them and it happens seamlessly. I had this realization when Ryan left the country for 3 weeks over the summer, and we had spent almost every Monday night together leading up to that. Sometimes that would entail a busy and full work day, followed by going to run club, going back to my place, making dinner, hanging out, and going to sleep. And when he wasn't there to do all of that with me, I was exhausted and was like, damn, I can't believe I'm able to do all this in my day and have the social energy to hang out with Ryan. It was a good vote of confidence to realize it's because he doesn't drain my energy and I love spending time with him. So take my word for it that when it's the right person, they are going to fit very seamlessly into your life. When it comes to moving to a new city, you're ready to feel like this new place is a home the second you move, where you have the routine, the friends, the hobbies, the lifestyle immediately at your fingertips. And those things take time to build. But you want to be able to snap your fingers together and bam, you're fully adjusted in your new city. And what you're forgetting is the lessons that happen in this period of growth, and that it means you're growing. You're stretching yourself towards a new goal with a fire in your belly to feel as situated as you can, as fast as you can, which is great, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, it just doesn't happen that quickly, at least for the majority of you. Another example I can think of, at least for me personally, is when my lease is up every year. I panic over where I'm going to move to next, how much my rent is going to go up, how much to account for moving costs, and freak myself out over all of the details when I haven't even received my renewal yet. And I've been able to negotiate my renewal down every year and fully plan on moving this next year, so it's not even up for discussion. And I know that at the end of February, I will be packing up my belongings and moving to a different part of Charlotte. But every year since living in Charlotte, I have put the cart before the horse. I've worried about the things that haven't even happened yet and usually never do. When you get ahead of yourself, you are stressing out over the imaginary. And why stress when there's nothing to stress about? It's wanting the good things to happen fast or running through all the worst case scenarios as a protection mechanism. And it stems from wanting control. You want to feel like you have control over every outcome. So what's next is, what do you do when you catch yourself jumping the gun? I've mentioned this throughout this episode, but you need to find your first step. And sometimes that step is doing nothing but waiting for time or information to unfold. It's uncomfortable to be in this space of pause, but you have to control your mind gremlins as they want to take over and rush the process that can't be rushed. And then, if you're also in this space of pause, you should go back and listen to the episode of what it means to be in the in-between to help yourself feel better. Because it does make you feel like you're behind when you have this vision for yourself and you're not there yet. But what if I told you you're actually early? You want to receive what isn't ready for you yet. It's like waiting at the counter for your Starbucks order. You've ordered your drink, but it's not in your hands yet, so you have to wait for it to come to you. Even though you know exactly what you ordered, exactly what's coming for you, you still have to take deep breaths as you anticipate your name being called, telling you that your order is ready. So yeah, getting ahead of yourself is sitting in a pit of discomfort because you're anxiously waiting for what's to come. You want the answer before it's time for you to get the answer, and it activates the fear part of your brain, which then makes you impatient as you drive yourself mad. To which I want you to play out your fears and what you would do in each of those scenarios. Practice patience, maybe in the form of journaling your dreams, taking deep breaths, moving slower in your day-to-day life, like when you walk to your car. And finally, find your first step. There's no point in knowing step 10 when you don't even have step 1. You can't run before you learn to walk, and everything in life happens in progression. You need to find what yours is. And if you need help carving out this path, then that's exactly what I can help you with as the adulting coach. All you have to do is schedule a call with me by heading to the show notes, but I am actively taking on new clients and would love to help you own your life. Otherwise, this does conclude another episode of How to 20-something. So, if you liked what you heard, if you learned something new, if you are someone who constantly gets ahead of yourself or know someone who does, then please share this episode. Send it to a friend or post it on social media and then tag me at coach.justdiamond when you do so I can see it. But seriously, help me spread word of this podcast so more 20-somethings can give it a listen. And as always, I can't wait to be in your headphones again next week with another brand new episode.